Peace, everyone. How you doing? Welcome to Israel Doctrine's Google Hangout. I'm your host, Carl Labert, and you have now entered into our Hangout. And this one right here is entitled "The War Against Churches That Teach." Now, if a lot of y'all been asleep over the last couple years, I say the last 10 years, then Obama was coming into office to be the president of the United States, a black man, the first black man to do so, no matter if he African man, African American man, or whatever. The country, the United States of America, was about to embark on something that never was thinkable back in the day. So he had a preacher by the name of Jeremiah Wright. And Jeremiah Wright came through with black liberation theology, to make it short, right? Now, that's a lot of liberation theologies. Anybody that's being oppressed will go to the Bible and bring out the liberation teachings, doctrines, scriptures to help liberate themselves from the oppressors and those that look to oppress, right? Simple as that. So, what y'all didn't know, though, it was a covert mission to go with liberation theology as a whole. They used Jeremiah Wright and they used Barack Obama to kick it off. Most definitely black liberation theology by James Cone, which is basically a breakdown of taking Christianity and we should overcome and peaceful stuff from Martin Luther King, and then taking the national perspective of the Nation of Islam and this and that, and taking these things. And if you read his book that deals with black theology, black liberation theology, or liberation theology, I forget exactly how he write it. He got two wiggles. But if you look at it and read it, you will see that he's white churches and white people and stuff that look at the end of the day, you got to be black. Now, this is a far cry from the whole Israel perspective where we are the children of Israel. But because serving as a whole, as a national body, of Christ, then yes, we are the church, we are Israel, we are his chosen people. All of this, if you just go back in time and really look at it. So there's a fight against it, but most definitely the ones that call themselves Israelites.
I can't hear you no more, bro. You broke up real bad. You on mute? I can't hear you. Carl, I can't hear you. Anybody in the chat, Jaquel, press 1 if you can hear Carl. Press 2 if you can't hear him. Press 1 if y'all can hear Carl or hear me. Press 2 if y'all, well, if you can't hear me, you can't press nothing. But if you can't hear Carl, press 2. Oh. Can y'all hear me? Carl, I can't hear you no more. Where you go? Back out. Come back in.
All right, well, it kicked them off too or whatever. I don't know how long the stream was dead or whatever. But I was talking about Jeremiah Wright, Barack Obama 10 years ago, basically. Black liberation theology, which comes from James Cone, broken down to Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, amalgamating the two perspectives, telling the white churches and everything that you're not Christian if you can't identify the suffering servant or the suffering people that make up the body, which is Israel. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how much of that y'all got or missed with the stream messing up. But I wish it didn't kick him off and he could have came on and started dealing with some stuff once it fell off. But that gap will be in the show now. Who cares? So, Black liberation theology. What most people didn't know, that it was a covert.
So now hit this again.
So you got to turn the YouTube off. So it was a covert mission to start similar to the Holy Inquisition, but inquisition on those who teach liberation theology. And Black liberation theology ain't the only theology out there, but Black liberation theology is most definitely. Oh, now am I? Oh yeah, y'all can hear me. What's going on with stuff, man? Can y'all? Man, somebody must be in my room or something. What's up, man?
No.
This guy. You got to turn, man. You loud.
Is that better?
Yeah, speaking, we'll see.
Booty shake.
Yeah, that's cool. But I don't know how much you heard or didn't hear. I was talking about Black liberation theology, the war against liberation theology in the church, being taught in the church, most definitely from a Black perspective. It's not the Hebrew Israelite perspective, but it is Malcolm and Martin, who was the two, clergymen like that was dealing with the civil rights issue, which Malcolm was about to take it to a human rights issue and everything. But I mean, I don't know what they missed it then, but we'll get to it eventually. You can hop in.
Okay, yeah. Grace and peace to everybody in the chat. Yeah, I seen the show that you did yesterday, the build with the brother Tahuti from HOK. It was a pretty good conversation. And yeah, y'all was talking about basically, you was trying to go back to the grassroots of the church role in the community and basically showing how as a whole it has swayed from that. And both of y'all made some good points. It wasn't a debate. It was more like it was a dialogue. So I advise somebody to go check that out so they'll basically see where this conversation at now. And yeah, I'm rolling with you 100 on that, the liberation from our people. Because I mean, from a standpoint, even if you don't know it, even if you're not promoting it from a national standpoint, it is set up as a liberation. You could say from the world, how was that be what the church or the people is supposed to be? And you had used an example of the IOG based out of Chicago on how they have a big class or camp church congregation, and they open up businesses and they hire their people, and they even built it from the ground up using the hands of our own people, hiring all quote unquote Black people, for lack of a better word. And now they're going into building medical facilities. And I remember I peeped you asked him the question, well, he had brought up, well, if you got a 501c3, you have to do those things. But what he don't understand is they would do those things anyway. They was doing that before they even had a big congregation or whatever. You know, when it was just a storefront, they was doing the same things because it's based off the principles in the Bible. Period. Like you were pointing out that you're supposed to give clothes to the naked, as the book say. You're supposed to feed the hungry. You're supposed to visit the sick. And you're supposed to visit people in prison. All these things are literally in the biblical text, and they actually do them. They have a prison ministry. And we're not just boasting on one group. Your point was, if all the churches, camps, congregations, mosques did this, then collectively it would be a form of liberation. Am I correct?
Yeah, most definitely. That, you know, that's Matthew 25.
Right.
You might need to turn your speakers down a little bit too.
Oh, every time I turn it down, now your voice getting lower. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Matthew 25, that's what it is, separating the sheep from the goat. That's, you know, it's as simple as that. But yeah.
Yeah, and okay. And so you know, as I was reviewing the conversation that y'all was having, you know, the brother had brought up a point and he had threw the NOI out there as an example after you threw out lesser known IOG as an example. And I was basically thinking in my mind that denomination apart, put to the side, is the fact that they're not on a national level saying we're God's chosen people per se. You know, they'll throw out there every now and then. It's not a knock on the NOI. But, you know, that's just a different paradigm that they come from. They'll mention that we are the real Israelites and all that. But when you're saying that, no matter what good you're doing in the community, we know everything as far as media outlets is controlled by so-called Jewish people. So they're not going to allow you to promote that on a grand scale. So I think that is what people just need to do research on their own and go find these places, because there's a lot of other places like that throughout our country, if you want to call it that. But they don't get that type of national news. So dealing with what we do have, we have to come to the reality. The church ain't going nowhere. It ain't going nowhere, and nor should it go anywhere. But I heard you saying it need to be reformed. So I want to pick up at that conversation. What exactly do you mean by it needs to be reformed? I think everybody needs to hear this because that was interesting.
Now it goes back to liberation theology. At the end of the day, the people, the church, and if you go to Acts 7 and like I said, I think it's 38 or whatever, the church was in the wilderness. The church is nothing new. It's Israel. And even when you look at the body that Christ put together, starting out with the 12 disciples who gonna sit on 12 thrones, you know what I'm saying, judging the nation of Israel, running the nation of Israel, you know, them 12 gates with the 12 tribes name on it. Everything is about Israel. People say they want to go to heaven or they want to make it to the kingdom. And they fail to realize that the kingdom is Israel and that it's going to be Israelites running the kingdom of Israel. The head Israelite being the Holy One of Israel itself, Christ, through the theocracy that, you know, we have in the body of Christ. But this is how you liberate people. You got to tell them the truth and give them the knowledge and the understanding of these things. Well, false theology and false doctrine has clouded the ability of the church to do what it's supposed to do. Tithes and offerings are being debated by different people. Should we give tithes? Should we take offerings? Yes, they was given to Levi, the ministers of God, to do the work of God. And now that he has put us under the order of Melchizedek, is new ministers. They even minister to Levi because Levi is a part of the nation. And under the order of Melchizedek, yeah, we even minister to Levi. But at the end of the day, the works of the church is in the hand of the people. And the people got to know how to regulate the churchonomics, the economics of the church. They got to know how to do the things that you mentioned in Matthew 25. You know, when I was in prison, you visited me. When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was naked, you clothed me. And this is end time eschatology for the church. Eschatology is end time prophecy and stuff. Why? Because the church, the body of Christ, is supposed to move as if it's Christ, the Messiah, under the same anointing that he moved under, to do those things that you find in Matthew 25. And when you do those things, the people gonna come anyway. As Jesus said, oh, y'all follow me because I got this bread, I got this food. Y'all ain't really coming for the word, but y'all know that I will feed you. And I got these fish and I got these baskets and I can feed y'all. Y'all come to me because you hungry. But eat this word also, as he tell them in John 6. So when people don't understand the Bible and they don't understand the principles and the principality that it is, the legal documentation and stuff that it is, then, you know, they don't understand the power of the church, and they don't understand how it's been operating in our community from the beginning and how it fell off. And now you got to reform it and take it back to the original roots that it was. It was our classroom. It was our social gathering place. It was our learning place. This is where people could learn to read, because they would let you read the Bible. If they didn't let you read now another text or any other book in the world, you could read the Bible. And reading the Bible give you a fundamental understanding of literal and figurative speech and how to deal with literature and stuff, because it's different forms of writings in the Bible. Poetry, allegories, and different stuff, which is traditionally our way of dealing and speaking anyway. So it's just so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm listening to you. You know, that's a clear breakdown of, like you said, somewhere down the line, those factors played a role in them losing focus of that. So, I mean, like when you brought up the whole, some people want to debate the tithes and all that stuff, but under Melchizedek, you know, it even tell us, you know, we are a nation of priests now, due to the diaspora, the dispersion of us, basically. So wherever we at, we supposed to, whenever we build something that is going to be congregational, the foundation of it has to be, of course, the Most High and the people. That goes back to like when he say, you know, you love your neighbor like you love yourself. And he tells you, you know, love God with all your heart and all that. So it is based off of a brotherhood and a sisterhood. And to be quite honest with you, that part is not going to be it can't be avoided. Like you were saying, like a lot of the Hebrew Israelites, they kind of look like they isolated. But when you look into most of their structures that I can speak of, that I had experiences with, when you look at them, they doing all these same things, you know, but they're not, it doesn't look like it's an open door policy. But, you know, fortunately, the class that I come from, they actually are becoming more, well, from the start, you could see that they don't have this isolated type attitude. You know how, like,
let's just make it plain. It's three major classes in Chicago, and two of them come out of the one: Israel of God, House of Jacob, Church of Israel. And most people in the Chicagoland area already know. And then in Indiana with Israel Church of Jesus,
right?
People in the Midwest know and understand the power that they're displaying in the Midwest. You know, all these classes do the same thing because they based up off of the same principles.
Right.
They give clothing giveaways, they give food giveaway, they do all the things to help the community, and any community they in, you can see the change and the difference in the community. You know what I'm saying? They still have to beat their feet on the pavement a little bit more in some places and things of that nature. But when you're doing the work, the people on the street will speak for you. When you feeding the crackheads and they find out it's somewhere to get food, they gonna tell they fellow brothers and sisters on the street, you could go to this church and they doing this. You could go over there, they do this, they do that. Now, most definitely you don't want people taking advantage of stuff, but when you taking care of the neighborhood and you taking care of the people and them clothing giveaways and, you know what I'm saying, cooking food and everything, and look, they gonna come. It's like the field of dreams. You build it, they come. So if the church is active in the community, the people gonna come. It's social networking at its best.
Yeah, and you brought up the class in Indiana and Gary, the ICOJ. They building a school right now. Like literally, they're building a school right now. We know at one point the IOG had a school, like a real school, a public school. You know what I'm saying? And so, right, that's taking things in the step in the right direction. But like you say, it all goes back to what foundation you built off of, what teachers you have, and what things they implemented. And ultimately, our teacher is the Holy Bible, which you say is the best liberation for our people. And if people took the dogmatic principle off of it and still maintain the spirituality aspect first, but go deeper into the technicalities in the scriptures, you literally have the answer for all our problems. Point blank, period.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, as it say, talking about the reform, and as we was talking yesterday, social, political, and economic. Number one, the church has always been a social gathering place. Though it was on Sunday, everybody and their mama, every city allows people to double park, do this and do that, because they like, hey, if a lot of people want to go into that building, then they need the parking room and stuff. It's like no other day. They allow things to go on that they wouldn't allow go on any other day. Right? Now we know that that ain't the Pacific day in which we supposed to hold our congregations and meetings and stuff on, but that's what the church has always been there for. People go have picnics and stuff. You might find your wife there, whatever, because you don't want to go to the club. You know, at least she at church, she's showing herself to be a woman. At the club, she might be showing herself in another manner. And then you could even see the man, he's out there with another mind state thinking, you know. So you want to go to a place where people are more, you know, ladylike and gentlemanlike, wearing their suits and ties and, you know, hard bottoms and, you know, they Sunday best or, you know, whatever. This is what the church has always been, though. People had 2 or maybe 3 pair of shoes: working shoes, church shoes, and play shoes. You know what I'm saying? They had a couple pair of clothing, overalls, church suit, you know, pair of jeans, and a couple shirts. But everything was evolving around the church because Big Mama, Big Boy, she was gonna make you do it. You know what I'm saying? Pops, old man was gonna be going. You're gonna go to church. You're gonna have church picnic. You're gonna have church functions. You can't get away from that. That's how we used to socialize. And like I said, once again, the church house used to be the school, used to be the place where you could get the skills you need to learn how to read and things of that nature. The church house just used to be the spot, man.
Yeah, and to further build on what you were saying, moved the ideological aspect from it and just read it out literally. We know that it tells us, if you believe in the Bible, that it tells us that we're going to progress. We're going to make big moves. And you would say that like we're going to wake more people up. Now you brought up, I believe it was Matthew 25. We talk about, feeding the homeless and things of that nature, community work, as they would say it today. It tell you that once that type of gospel, the word that's used, starts to spread, and meaning more people are going to do it, and they're going to do it in truth. It tells you basically infiltration is going to come. And I know you talked about this before with the whole BIE thing. You're going to have infiltration, meaning people are going to come in these camps, congregations, churches, mosques, etc., and they're going to infiltrate it and turn you into the government. Look at Matthew chapter 24, if I can. In the chapter before, it says, I started off at verse 4, right? Verse 5. It says, for many shall come in my name, saying I am Christ, and shall deceive many. Now watch this. It says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Now we see that with the world politics going on. North Korea threatened this, the United States threatened back this, then you got the thing going on in Syria, and so on and so forth. Africa is in straight chaos. Not all of it, but a lot of spots is in straight chaos. But of course, it get little light shined on it. But I'm going to continue reading. Watch the response, what's going to be going on with the people, though, the churches. It says, verse 7, it says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there should be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. Now, we got to look at that. How is this possible? And it's easy. You're going to have people infiltrating these camps, churches, etc., and they're going to try to destroy what you've built out of either fear of the government or just the fact that they're agents. So they're going to feel the repercussions, and they're going to start turning people up. And especially if you're one of these false churches who's stunting like you're doing this, but you really got some type of political tie or agenda to this system, this government, the people going to rise up, and it's going to be another form of people turning on people. But watch this.
But they ain't gotta infiltrate the church to do that. You know what I'm saying? All they got to do is say they over there doing that. See, like I said with Jeremiah Wright, the fact that you had Black liberation theology as the term used at the time Barack came in and stuff. Now you got Black identity extremists. Anything Black and talking about certain things they can deem extreme, then you fall up under that. It was a overlay to the underlay that there. It's a lot of people against liberation theology anyway, because they the oppressors. They don't want people to understand how to get liberation or how to live at peace. You know what I'm saying? People talk peace. You know what I'm saying? They want a peace of mind. They want peace at work. They want peace. But people don't really realize what peace is. There's no peace for those that ain't doing righteous. You know what I'm saying? But we'll get into that another day. But nah, they ain't got to flood your congregation and go in there. All they got to do is put a stamp on you, a label on you as extremists nowadays, and you'll get looked at. That's what happened with the Christian apologetics, and those who are doing extreme things in a certain name or title, and then they get blanket across the whole community or whatever. So anything Black, anything that's Hebrew Israelite with the Black on it too is getting blanket with the extremist conversation. So that's just that simple.
Yeah, I agree. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that that's the only avenue is going to be infiltration. But even with the example you just used, how do they use the urban apologetics or Christian apologetics, so-called, against these people to mark them? They put Negroes that look like them around. Am I right? I mean, we can see that. They'll recruit them. and you know, get
Yeah,
y'all
but for the
conversation.
most part, they use the wicked ones as a profile against the ones that's not wicked. The same thing
Right.
with basic black identity thing. They'll go get black people that say Black Lives Matter or black this and black that and black, and at the at the end of the day, their profile that a black that does these type of things are extreme and need to be locked up or detained and things of that nature. So people cannot do that if you're not doing it. You know what I'm saying? So when you find people radicalizing people and putting out a form of hate speech, then you setting everybody up. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely, you can't take the responsibility off the people themselves. You're right. You know, once you that's why it tell us to abstain from even the appearance of evil. You know, what might be evil to you ain't evil to the next man. But I could tell you right now, like you said, the powers that be, see you saying the white man and the devil and stuff that we've been hearing for a long
Yeah,
time.
but that's people that's a part of the fashion already. They doing that for them to set everybody else up that's not doing that. The biggest problem and eternal threat to the government is the rise of a black body, even the body of Christ, as we hear COINTELPRO, J. Edgar Hoover said and stuff. And it's when you start food programs and doing things for the community. Now the community is not living off the titty of the beast. They not on the beast titty no more. Think about it. When they give you a link card in Chicago, it's called a link card down in the South and stuff, or EBT card or whatever. When they give you that card, they know what you eat. They know what you don't eat. They know your eating habits. Then they give you a government phone. They know who you call and they know where you at from the GPS system and stuff. You know what I'm saying? But you can't get away from this anyway. But even people that getting government funding is falling into their system even more and being able to be analyzed, looked at, and you know what I'm saying? Because when you go get assistance, man, they want to know where you at. They want to know what you're doing. Right. Up there, you have to go and work to get your food stamps. Certain people, you have to go work. They make you get a job so you can get a couple dollars, but they not finna have you just sitting around the house receiving food stamps and not doing anything to get this public assistance and stuff. But that's what the church is for public assistance. You know,
right.
A lot of people don't know that if you pay tithes and stuff and everything, that you can go and get them things back. But then you got to pay a percentage on top of that, because God is a businessman too. And he tell you how to deal with that within the churchonomics, So if you need to pay your bills and stuff and you've been paying your tithes all year and everything, you can go and redeem them and be like, hey, look, so-and-so, just so I get back on my feet. You know what I'm saying? So the church is a bank too. It's all kind of stuff. But people are not talking about these things and dealing with it. But the financial institution that's known as a church, if people knew more about it, we wouldn't have too many problems, because then the pastor wouldn't be able to get all the money and run and go get him a plane or a Bentley or this and that. He'll live meek and humble, because the meek and the humble should inherit the earth. He won't be trying to get ill-gotten gain from off the church.
Yeah, and to stay on track, because I think this perfect timing. Like you said, now you bring up a term, churchonomics, right? So in that you got church, or the people, the community, and you got economics, which is not a compound word in the Bible, by the way. But that's real interesting, because I have to shoot a shot at you. But if you look at it, exactly like you said, you used the term, you said God is a businessman too. And that's what we was always taught, that, you know, he talk about don't be like the sluggard, don't be lazy. But who he tell us to observe? An ant. Something as minuscule as an ant. And when you ever watch an ant colony, they work as a body. Ain't no big eyes and little U's beside outside of the queen. And so they willing to literally sacrifice themselves for the next ant just to get their goal accomplished. So that's wisdom from God right there. That's a businessman. He started with that. And then if you go to like, if you don't mind, if you go to the teachings or the law or the Torah, Exodus chapter 22, verse 25 say, if thou lend money to any of my people that is poor by thee, thou shalt not be to him as a usurer, neither shall thou lay upon him usury. Now, you just brought up that you have basically pastors, ministers, teachers, imams, mores, etc., bishops that abuse that and do exactly what the foundation of the businessman God laid down to the nation of Israel. So this would be churchonomics. He started off what? He had to start in truth. You can't build a foundation on a lie. I heard you say that yesterday, and that was absolutely correct. So if you're not into this for ill will gain, other spots call it filthy lucre. If you lend or help to the poor, see, notice he said ain't nothing wrong with lending. But we know first off, you're supposed to just give. Things gonna come back to you. But say you have to lend to somebody who, I ain't gonna even just use a regular poor person. I'm gonna say somebody that's in a poor state that's trying to build themselves back up. And say you run a congregation or a camp and you give them like a bank loan. I heard you bring it up yesterday that the Levitical priesthood was set up as a financial institution as well as other things. And you're absolutely right. So say you give somebody that's in a poor condition that's trying to build up, right? And you loan some to them. Now you taxing interest all on them and holding this over their head forever to the point where it stagnates them and they can never come from under your foot. God say that that is a sin. So aren't you?
Yeah, because he even give us a Jubilee. And he tell you if it's the 6th year and it's nearing the 7th year, you but not hold back. Because you like, well, the 7th year coming and the year of Jubilee coming. If I lend him this year, he could be free of it next year. And nah, you can't even hold back then. You gotta do it. Now, this is when you get into group economics. This is when you really dealing with stuff, because at the end of the day, like you say, all the money and all the stuff and everything that come in and everything that goes out, if it's all amongst you, you'll never lose out anyway. Why? Because it's still going to be people there with stuff to help build you up when you down. It's always going to be somebody that have, so when you have not, they can give, they can lend, they can do stuff. But when everybody around here empty, hey, man, I'm trying to get these two beans together and boil them so I could have me a meal. What we talking about?
Yeah, and what's funny about that, you spoke of the year of Jubilee. And that's a good example. And you know, it always pop up in my head, ID. I can't think of where that verse is at, but it talks about if somebody come to you and say they're hungry, and you basically get them some religious talk like God bless you, and then send them on their way, is their stomach gonna be full? You know,
that's that whole faith without works and all of that. And the man said starving and this and that. You say you're gonna pray for him. With you and everything, and you have what you need, and you don't give it to them. You ain't nah.
Right. And if somebody know exactly where that's at, put that scripture and verse in the chat box. James 2. Okay. Thanks. What's that? Trentus? Thanks, bro. James chapter 2. Yeah. So again, if you build off this foundation, see, and that's the thing right there. I think this is where if there was a little bump in the road, this is where the bump in the road was from you and the brother's conversation yesterday. You know, he kept saying, put your religion to the side and basically put it on the bottom. Verbatim, he said that, and put the social thing on the top, or coming together on the top. But if you come together, you have to come together under a true, a real foundation. You can't come together under faulty information. You can't come together under false pretense. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, you know, I just was feeling you on that. You know what I'm saying? I was really feeling you on that, because you need these type of principles in order for something to work. Let's just keep it 100. I'm not saying that the Bible is the only place that got these principles. Hell, a lot of things got principles. My whole thing is, though, how many people was following that religiously? And I'm using a term, like you said, as far as a custom. It becomes your everyday life to the point where it's second nature. You're not doing it just because you're dogmatic or you think you pleasing God. It's just in you that has actually transformed your spirit to get up and do these things. And so by default, you are doing it because of your belief in God.
It's called cultural precepts, but they don't look in the Bible to see cultural precepts. Like the Bible don't have a culture. Number one, it deals with agriculture more than anything. It's not written like they say in modern times when you're dealing with technology and all of this stuff. It's dealing with a culture. Plant your seed in this season and do this and do that in its season and everything. It give you cultural precepts, but they don't see the Bible as a cultural piece of literature. And that's what the same thing that we talking about, like when he said white supremacy and stuff. When you have people telling you that your cultural precepts and principles is religious because you're dogmatic with it and you're indoctrinated in your culture and stuff, then we have a problem now. Because you saying my way of living is a religion. Well, you can do that, but now you putting religion in a negative term and putting my culture in a negative term because you calling it religious. You see what I'm saying? But if people say, you know, let's find something that people do, you know, just praying or meditating or doing yoga, because yoga could be a form of religion, basically. People stretching every day and making sure their limbs loose and this and that. But then they saying they humming and stuff. It's a religion. You can't take what a person do, brushing your teeth, or you don't need to brush your teeth because you religious. So now we supposed to have rotten teeth and this and that and let our teeth fall out our mouth because we wake up and you know what I'm saying? Come on, please. Stop it, man. Y'all stop using words that you really don't understand. If you go to the etymology of religion, you will see what I'm talking about is also found in the etymology of religion all day. It's culture, it's practices. You ever did it? You ever did it?
Go ahead.
I'm saying, have you ever did it?
However, did exactly what? You named a lot of things.
Look at the etymology of religion.
Yeah, I did a long time ago. It's been a while. I don't. I think the meaning has something to do with custom was in there, but it was like what was it? I can't really remember what the meaning.
Well, I'm gonna look it up. What do the Bible say pure religion is?
Oh, well, the Bible say pure religion is really righteous acts. It's like feeding hungry people, going visiting the prisons and all that. He named it. He names it. He literally it's community work, to be quite honest with
you. Yeah. As you would think the Levites was the most religious people out of all, because they did the sacrifices, they did all these so-called religious acts. And then at the end of the day, they still was in charge of the social and the economics. They was in politics because they had to check the king sometime, but the king was the leader. You know what I'm saying? So the priest and the king, as in any theocracy, always goes at it a little bit. That's why you had certain prophets checking them king. You know what I'm saying? Then the king trying to do, you know, the priest thing. It was like, nah, man, you stepping out of your bounds. You you over this, you're not over this. We're temporal and not spiritual or religious stuff.
Right. And that's because we know that the king represents the nation. So the king is the ruler, but the priest is the office, as you would say, like how Rome kind of stole that whole theocracy. I heard you bring that up yesterday, like how they have the Pope. He is the king and the bishop. Like literally, you could go look that up. He's the only person with that position on the planet Earth. He's a king bishop. And then he always have a military or a political prime minister or something like that that he would be in agreements with. Now, that is where the Levites and the king would always come together. Because like you say, the king's wise counsel is the prophets, the Levites, etc. And so, yeah, you absolutely right with that. The brother Trentus is asking you to read James chapter 2, verse 14 through 17 for the people, Carl. He specifically asked you to read it for us.
My mic muted. I was just gonna say, can you hear me? All right, I was just on by the gateway, but I went off of. All right. Yeah, I kick that all the time. Kick a little something for them. Yeah, that's where it is. What do it profit, my brother? Though a man say he have faith and have not works, can faith save him? If a brother or sister be naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warmed and filled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful to the body, what do it profit? Even so faith, if it have not works, is dead, being alone. So yeah, you can't leave people out there and everything. I'm gonna give you, let me see.
He said
we're gonna go to 1 John 3.
Okay, right. And after you go there, I'm gonna read the brother got another request. After you go there, I'm gonna read Deuteronomy 17 about the king.
And we'll pick it up at 17. 1 John 3 and 17. But whosoever has this world good and seeth his brother have need, and shutteth up his bowels of compassion from him, how dwell the love of God and children? Let us not love in words, which that's what he was just doing, neither in tongues, which words flow off of, but in deed and in truth. And hereby we know that we are the truth, and shall assure our hearts before him. For if our hearts condemn us, we know we should take care of people or do something, especially if we got it and can spare it. God is greater than our hearts and knoweth all things. Beloved, if our hearts condemn us not, then have we confidence towards God. But yeah, can't be loving in words. You got to love in deed. Love is an action word. You got to do something. You got to show action.
Right. And it's a let me see. Okay. And in Deuteronomy, I'm gonna read some of this, but for time constraints, I'm gonna get to the point. But this is a good verse the brother went to. Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 14 say, when thou art come unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shall possess it, and shall dwell therein, and shall say, I will set a king over thee, like as all the nations that are about me. Now we know originally God didn't want us to do that. He was our king, but being that we already instituted it, we wanted kings, he told us how to do it. So he said, thou shalt anywise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shall thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. And it says, but he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt, to the end that should multiply horses, for as much the Lord have said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall be multiplied wives, and the heart turneth away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. So we see the type of king that's going to be set over us is a king that don't have distractions. That's basically what that means. If he got 100 wives, how he gonna take care of the people and be focused on all that? If he just care about buying a lot of horses, which would be a lot of vehicles and all that type of stuff. Like, for what? You know, you got a few of them, that's enough. You know what I'm saying? That's money that could be going into the community, and that's less distractions. Verse 18, and it shall be when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom, that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the priests, the Levites. Go back to what you said, Carl. So it has to be, they got to see eye to eye. It has to be a good a good cooperation between the priesthood and the royalhood, for lack of a better word. Verse 19, it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life. So all while he on that throne and after, because, well, you know, really wasn't one way to get rid of you. He had to live by that principle. It says that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words of this law and these statutes to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel. Now that's deep, because what it literally is telling his king, I'm giving you these principles, right? Not to be a overly.
You still okay? It froze up.
Oh, let me finish. Let me finish, bro. Let me finish. I just was in the middle of explaining. It ain't gonna take long. It's saying that basically, if you keep it simple with all that power and royalty as the king, keep your responsibility first. Therefore, you won't lift yourself up over your people. So meaning, just because you king, you ain't supposed to be looked like as though you can't be corrected. So go ahead. Go ahead. I can't hear you, Carl.
Yeah, it's messing up on this end. Go ahead and talk.
Oh, okay.
Take the conversation because it's breaking up on this end.
Okay, cool. And so, I mean, that's a good starting point, and I'm glad our beloved brother asked us to go there and read that, because they go to foundation for everything. I see you just put up the definition of religion. To hold the
working better. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. I'm gonna show a couple of this. This is the etymology. They done changed it. They done got a new one. But respect for what is sacred, right? Reverence of God is what they keep talking about more than anything, right? But look at here. More obligation. If you take care of your moral obligations religiously, you religious, right? Divine service. As a minister of God, fivefold or whatever, you're supposed to take care of divine services. Or religious, meaning that you do it all the time. Obligations would go with divine service and more obligations to feed and take care and help people. So when people go religious, and as my brother said, scholarship, well, we over here is some so-called scholarly thing, right? Ain't that what it say? But you don't find people trying to be scholarly with the term religion. They just want to bash it and say, oh, you religious. Yeah, I got a moral obligation to take care of my family. I religiously take care of my family. So you want to stop their religions? I shouldn't take care of my family now? You religiously clean your body. Why? Because even in God's law, it's a cleanliness law. That's why they got it. Jesus, like, you ain't even wash your hands before you eat. It's a grandmother or grandfather with the boy, you better get up from here and wash your hands before you do this and that. You know what I'm saying? Divine services, more obligations, religious observance, keeping feast days and stuff. That's cultural precepts. So don't let nobody dog religion and try to make you hate to be religious. Ain't nothing wrong with being religious. We are religious, just in our certain areas and certain things we deal with. But you got it.
You muted yourself.
I'll pass the mic.
Oh, okay, yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because that's exactly what happened. Like, for example, I could use myself as an example. Like, if I say I'm talking to just the general public, and I say, you know, and they might make a statement, you know, don't bring religion into this. If I quote something from the Bible, and my response is, I'm not religious. I don't have a religion. When I say that, I'm using it as the generic term because I'm speaking on the level of the people's understanding. But now that you broke down the etymology of it, you know, that would be true religion.
Are you still speaking or you mute your mic? He muted his mic. But yeah, that's what pure religion is. You can go to the Israel Doctrine Reloaded and you can just type in religion in the thing, and you will see that I got a couple lessons pushing what religion is. But see, this is the same thing, and this is the problem in social media and this social circle that we deal with on this internet, that nobody wants to sit down and talk what religion is and really deal with it from the etymology point, the biblical point, or whatever. And when people find out that they should have more obligations to take care of their brothers and their sisters and stuff, Matthew 25, feed the hungry when they hungry, clothe the naked when they naked, and visit the peoples in jail when they in jail, and the sick when they sick, and mourn with those that mourn, and party with those that's partying and stuff, which brings about more social gathering and networking, then we working with something. But everybody think they know what it is and want to say, well, you religious or you deal with the Bible. You can't possibly tell us what we should be able to do and why we should be able to do it and what it's going to bring about when we do it. The Bible tell you it ain't me. It's our ancestors that wrote the book that telling us this. Since you say you want to deal with your ancestors, then go deal with your ancestors' writings and understand and comprehend from what they left you in the book. If you want to go all the way back to the walls of the pyramids, if it's sufficient, go all the way to the walls of the pyramid and read what they left you. Because it seemed as if they was a little bit more understanding of things. They had a better understanding back then than now. They knew what a penny was back in the day because they work hard for that. When you go out and you get 65 cents for chopping a field, or you get $1, less than $1 for chopping a field all day, and the field is miles long, you know what it means to earn a buck. People don't understand that today. That's why the Hispanics is earning them bucks. And we like, man, I'm not working for that, because we can't understand the group economics and doing certain thing and bringing them bucks together to bring about the bigger agenda.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. But see, that starts in the mind, though. You know, that starts in the mind because if you figure you can't put yourself in a low state, if you think people would look at it as a low state to do the little simple stuff, do the everything, the garbage man, and all that type of stuff, the jobs that people don't want to do, then you will never be able to see the bigger picture of unity growth. You know, growth as a whole. You'll never be able to do that. And like you said, when you look at the other nations, that's what they don't have a problem with. If you look at the people that got our identity, the Jewish community, they the best at that. They only circulate them dollars amongst themselves, and they don't care. You know, for the most part, they're powerful and wealthy, but they got Jewish dudes that's on a lower level, you know, that do things because he look and at the greater whole of it all, he's still gonna wind up in the end of the day having some type of financial and economic.
Rosenberg told them they can go to their other brother though, because once again they do
Right.
it in every community. If my uncle a businessman and my auntie a businesswoman and this and that, and people in the family got stuff, well, can I get a business so when people in the family need something, we can go in my register and different stuff and pull a couple dollars out and put it over there to make things work. But see, you can have a job as a janitorial man at the school in your near your community, and you can be at that job forever. You know why? Because when it rains or snow or whatever, you ain't got to go across city or you ain't got to commute. You see what I'm saying? If you can have jobs that's close to home that pay good and you can keep it, then now your history and your financial history is gonna look good because you consistently working, you own your job, so on and so forth. I learned this being in the South, because people down here, when they get out of school, they go into one of them factories or whatever, and they might stay in there 15, 20 years. But they got a house, they got a couple cars, they got a little money on the side because they consistently been working for years, because they ain't had to go 30 miles and commute and do all of that to be on a job. When you can't make it to the job because of this, that, and everything else, and you got family around that, if you got children, you can be like, babysit, I don't got to go to work today. They need to call us in. We got to do this and that. See, it's certain things, the stuff that if you look at it in the simplicity way, the simple way, then you can work it. But most people be trying to think too hard. See, ain't nothing like an educated fool. And what they used to tell me when I was young. Ain't nothing like an educated fool. They think they know everything and just foolish. That's something I ain't never wanted to be. I ain't got the best education, but I ain't no fool either.
Yeah, I feel you on that, bro. I feel you on that, man. You know, so yeah, I mean, the spirit has been put out there, as we call it. And, you know, I think this conversation should continue henceforth, because it's something that can be done. Like, and it's something that's going to be done because prophecy say it, you know, to a degree. If if you got the understanding that I do, if you look at it through that lens, you know, it's going to be done. But to play our part in it, the only way it can be done is if we stress the issue. And we got to also be examples of that. Like you said, I know you got your thing. You're going to do this something in the shop. That's why I got a lot of things that I'm already putting in ignition myself, because I think that's the #1 goal, man. You know what I mean? We got to show God's works instead of just talking about it.
Yeah, that's why he said work and do things like this so you can have and lend to those that need and do stuff. I mean, a lot of these things is problematical amongst people because they don't know. You know what I'm saying? They don't know. And this is how people is trying to start their businesses and do different things and stuff. Like I said, you got to open up the floodgate for conversation and networking and communicating with each other. That's how everybody gonna eat. You see what I'm saying? If everybody channel was clocking and the conversation was flowing from channel to channel and stuff, and people was making money, then you could say, hey, you got 1,000, I got 1,000, he got 1,000. Yeah, we ain't gonna say, well, you got 1 million, throw 1 million in, I got 1 million, because we ain't millionaires, but we can at least be thousandaires and do stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, you got 1,000, I got 1,000, you got 1,000. Okay, we got 10 people, $10,000. Let's do this. You know what I'm saying? In a community of YouTubers networking like that, you can easily get that type of money. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can say, well, next month we're going to give all our proceeds to doing this, and we're going to come together and market and promote and do these type of things. You know what I'm saying? To do this for the community, which we're going to have all our flyers and banners up there and different stuff, because everybody making money and everybody doing good because everybody helping everybody. But these not the type of things that people want to do. Everybody want to be the head nigga in charge. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got a problem, y'all. But, you know, with the right word, spirit going out there, then you could change the spirit, the heart, the mind, the thoughts of the people with the spirit in the right direction. Because the spirit is what? To what? Huh? Where you at, man? This guy that muted, I guess he's gone for the day. But yeah, that's it, y'all. I gotta go find me some breakfast. As you notice, I'm always talking about gotta get that food in me. Even though I might not eat a big portion of nothing, but I'm gonna put something in my belly. It's one thing I can't do without. But yeah, y'all, I mean, this is what it's about. Only way we're gonna grow together. Only way we're gonna grow together is we talk together and stuff and do things together. But you know, like I said, this platform has always been open. And when people then call me and say, Carl, will you come over? I always been open. I don't like denying people. You know what I'm saying? Only if you coming through trying to be an anus will I deny you. You know what I'm saying? Ain't got time for that. You know, one too much feeling yesterday conversation with all the marketing and promotion and you know, the red herrings and all of these, you know what I'm saying? But you know, it's a way to bounce off the conversation without being negative and just calling people out and trying to dog people. So I tried to be a little bit more positive. Hopefully, you know, people can discern what was truly being dealt with or talked about. But I'm gonna say peace, y'all. Mikael say peace. He out doing this thing, checking on the car, whatever. But we'll talk, y'all. Peace.